All right, let's dive in. So you did it. You passed the test, you got the bike, you've got all the gear. And now comes the most exciting and, let's be real, the most terrifying part. Riding all on your own, with no instructor in your ear. So today, we're going to build your roadmap from that first ride terror to actually feeling confident. And that's it, right? That is the reality for every single person who starts riding. It's this crazy mix of pure adrenaline and this little voice in your head that says, what if something goes wrong? One little wobble, one car that pulls out, and poof, that excitement is gone, replaced by this wave of anxiety. If you felt that, I promise you, you are not alone. It's practically a rite of passage. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Passing the test proves you've got the basic skills down, sure, but it doesn't really prepare you for the mental game of riding solo. So that's what we're going to break down here. The practical, deliberate steps you can take to build that bridge, one ride at a time. Okay, first things first, let's talk about that feeling of being completely and totally overwhelmed on your first solo rides. It is a universal experience. We have to normalize the fact that you're going to be a bit rubbish at first, because guess what? Every single rider was rubbish at first. Think about it. All of a sudden, you're trying to remember clutch control and braking and shoulder checks and road position and what gear you're in, all while dealing with real traffic. Your brain it short circuits. You might forget which lever does what for a split second. That is cognitive overload, and it's why those first rides are so mentally draining. But here's the crucial part. It passes. It gets better as those actions become muscle memory. So, how do we speed up that process of building muscle memory? Well, I can tell you it's not by jumping into rush hour traffic. The answer is in the best, most underrated training ground on the planet, a big, empty parking lot. And this right here is the key. When a car suddenly pulls out in front of you, you do not have time to think about the correct procedure for an emergency stop. You just have to react. And that reaction, that instinct, is built right here, in a safe space where a mistake costs you nothing, but maybe a little bit of pride. These are the fundamentals. We're not talking about anything fancy or complicated. We're drilling the absolute core skills you are going to use on every single ride, from slow speed filtering to hitting the brakes hard. Each one of these builds a specific piece of that confidence puzzle. Let's just zoom in on one of these for a second. Slow speed control is, and I mean this, probably the most important skill you can master. It's what you use in traffic, finding a parking spot, doing a U-turn. It's everything. It's all about finding that sweet spot on the clutch, using a little bit of rear brake to smooth things out, and, crucially, keeping your eyes up and looking where you want to end up. Okay, so you've put in the time in the parking lot. You're ready for the road. But your first solo ride should never, ever be, I'll just see where I end up. No way. That is a recipe for stress. Your first few rides need to be planned like a mission. The key here is to remove as many unknowns as possible. Keep it simple. Pick roads you already know, like the back of your hand. Make it a short 10-mile loop, max. Go super early on a Sunday when the roads are completely dead. And most importantly, check your mindset. You are not out there to look cool or impress anyone. Your goal is to learn and get home in one piece. That's it. This is the golden rule. Seriously, you are going to feel pressure from cars behind you. They have no idea you just passed your test. And frankly, they don't care. It is not your job to go faster for them. It's your job to ride within your own limits. If someone's tailgating you, just pull over when it's safe and let them pass. You have to ride your ride. All right, next up, let's talk about the mistakes that every single one of us makes when we start out. The goal isn't to be perfect, because you won't be. The goal is to recognize these common traps and actively, consciously work on fixing them. Oh boy, this is the big one. It is probably the most common cause of single vehicle crashes for new riders. Your survival instinct screams at you to stare at the danger, the pothole, the patch of gravel, whatever it is. But here's the thing about a motorcycle. It goes where you look. You stare at that pothole, I guarantee you are going to hit that pothole. So the fix is something you have to force yourself to do. You see the hazard, you acknowledge it for a split second, and then you physically turn your head and your eyes to look at the safe path around it. Look at the clean patch of pavement. Your bike will follow. You have to drill this over and over until it becomes pure instinct. When we get nervous, what do? We tense up. We lock our elbows and we put a white-knuckle death grip on the handlebars. This is totally counterproductive. You end up fighting the bike, which wants to stabilize itself, and you make little wobbles so much worse. Plus, you'll be physically exhausted after about 10 minutes. The fix here is just a constant mental check-in. Every time you stop at a light, wiggle your fingers, roll your shoulders back, make sure there's a nice relaxed bend in your elbows. That mental image is perfect. Imagine you're holding a tiny bird. You want to be firm enough so it doesn't fly away, but gentle enough that you don't, hurt it.
So how do we tie all this stuff together? How does all of this practice and fixing your mistakes actually build real, lasting confidence? Well, it's all about being deliberate and smart about how you progress, step by step.
Let's just look at the hard numbers for a second. That jump from 30 to 40 miles per hour, it almost doubles your stopping distance. In your first few weeks of riding, speed is not your friend. Time is your friend. Riding just 5 or 10 miles an hour below the speed limit buys you a huge buffer of extra time to see a hazard, to process it, and to react safely. Look, confidence is not built overnight. It's a slow burn. Week 1 is just about getting the basic controls down. By week 4, maybe you're ready for some busier roads. And then, by the end of about 2 months, with a few hundred miles of deliberate practice under your belt, you'll suddenly realize that the terror is mostly gone, and you're actually genuinely enjoying it. This right here is the philosophy you need to burn into your brain. Being fast is easy. Any idiot can twist a throttle. But having control, that's hard. Being smooth is hard. Being precise is hard. Focus all your energy on mastering control at low speeds, and the ability to ride faster will just happen. It'll come naturally as a byproduct of your skill. Ultimately, confidence isn't some finish line you cross. It's built in these tiny little layers with every single focused ride. So instead of just going for a ride, go out with a mission. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What's the one single specific skill that you're going to work on the next time you swing a leg over your bike?